All right, so today we're diving deep into someone who's pretty much synonymous with hip-hop, entrepreneurship,
Yeah,
and, well, lately, a whole lot of controversy.
lots of it.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Yeah,
You know the name, you've probably heard the hits,
for sure.
but is he really a true visionary?
Right.
Or is he just a master of hype?
It's so fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
We're talking about someone who built a huge empire from music to fashion to TV. But now we're seeing this whole other side kind of emerge, with these really serious accusations of abuse that just keep coming up.
Yeah, they keep popping up.
Makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder, what's the real story?
What's the real story? What's going on?
And that's what we're going to try to figure out today.
Let's get into it.
We've got articles.
Okay.
We've got court documents. Even some security camera footage.
Oh, wow.
That is honestly pretty disturbing.
Okay.
So buckle up.
All right.
Because this one's going to get intense.
Okay, so to understand the full scope of this, we need to go back.
Rewind.
Back to Combs' early days.
Oh.
His journey from the streets of Harlem to becoming a hip-hop mogul.
Right.
It's really a story of ambition, hustle, and, undeniable talent.
Yeah, it's like the classic rags to riches story.
Totally.
He wasn't born into privilege.
No.
Started out as a party promoter.
Right. Someone working behind the scenes.
Yeah, just working.
But he had this vision, you can tell.
That drive.
Maybe more.
He wanted to make it.
And that drive led him to found Bad Boy Records in the 90s, which became a major force in hip-hop.
Oh, yeah.
Shaping the sound and the style.
The whole genre.
Of the entire genre.
It really changed things.
Think about artists like the notorious B.I.G.
Oh, yeah, Biggie.
Their careers were launched by Combs and Bad Boy.
Absolutely. And he wasn't just in music.
No.
We're talking fashion lines, film, and TV production.
Right.
He even had a starring role.
Wow.
On a hit show like Empire.
Wow. That's right.
This guy was building an empire.
Yeah.
Won 3 Grammys along the way.
It's hard to deny his success.
It's hard to deny it.
Combs really cultivated this image of a visionary.
It was the guy.
Someone who could spot talent, predict trends, and create those cultural moments that resonated with millions of people.
Yeah, he had the magic touch.
And that's what makes the allegations against him even more jarring.
It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's like we're seeing 2 totally different versions of the same person.
It's like Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. On one hand, you have the icon.
Yeah, the success story.
But then you have these accusations of abuse starting to surface in the mid-2000s. And they've really gained momentum in recent years.
Yeah, they haven't gone away.
No, they haven't.
So in 2007, Combs started dating Cassie Ventura.
Oh, yeah. Cassie.
The singer and actress known for her hit Me and You.
Catchy song.
Right. Their relationship was really high profile.
Yeah, you couldn't miss it.
But it was also marked by these periods of breakups.
Oh, so on again, off again.
On again, off again.
Okay.
And they did this for over a decade.
A decade?
Over a decade.
Wow.
It was very public.
Yeah, it was all over the tabloids.
Very tumultuous romance.
And then in 2016, Ventura filed a lawsuit alleging that Combs had been physically and psychologically abusive during their relationship.
Yeah, the details of that lawsuit were pretty disturbing. But the case ended up being settled pretty quickly and quietly.
Oh, really? So it was kind of...
It felt like it was swept under the rug.
Yeah, like people kind of forgot about it.
Or at least for a while.
Until 2024.
Dun, dun, dun.
When security footage from a hotel hallway was released.
Oh, my God.
This footage showed Combs physically assaulting Ventura.
Wow.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
It reignited that whole controversy.
Obviously did.
And cast serious doubt on Combs' previous denials.
Like he was saying he didn't do anything.
Yeah, of any wrongdoing.
And then this footage comes out.
Boom.
It's like a smoking gun.
It is.
And then to make matters worse for Combs.
Uh-oh.
Ventura's lawyer, Meredith Feiertag,
okay,
went public and said that Combs' initial apology video after the lawsuit seemed more focused on protecting his own image.
So not really about the harm he'd caused.
Not really about taking responsibility.
Interesting.
And here's where it gets even more complicated.
Who did they lie on me?
Other women have also come forward.
Really?
With similar allegations against Combs.
Wow.
Suggesting a possible pattern of behavior.
Like this wasn't just a one-time thing.
Yeah, so we have to be clear here.
Right, of course.
Combs has denied all of these allegations.
Okay.
He says they're motivated by financial gain.
Okay, so he's saying they're just trying to get money from him.
Right. But the sheer number of accusations is hard to ignore.
That's a lot of people coming forward.
It really is.
So it's almost like we're trying to solve a puzzle, but we're missing some crucial pieces.
We don't have the whole picture.
No, we don't.
You have this undeniable success, this powerful image that Combs has built. But then these disturbing accusations keep coming up.
Right.
So how do we reconcile those two things?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is.
We've got two very different narratives running in parallel here.
Two sides of the story.
Yeah, the celebrated icon, the self-made businessman, and then the accused abuser.
Right.
The man who allegedly uses his power.
Yeah, to intimidate and silence others.
Right. So which version is the real Sean Combs?
Is there a real Sean Combs?
Or are they both part of a more complex reality?
Or is it all just shades of gray?
Lots to unpack there.
Lots to unpack. So we need to look at both sides of the story.
Okay.
So on one hand, we have to acknowledge the very real legal challenges to prosecuting the assault allegations.
Oh, right, because of the statute of limitations?
Because of the statute of limitations, which basically sets a time limit for how long after an incident you can take legal action.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Combs and his legal team,
they're going to fight this.
They are planning to fight these accusations vigorously.
Okay, so they're not backing down.
No, they are not.
But on the other hand,
yes,
we have to think about the potential chilling effect this kind of power and wealth can have.
It's true.
What does it say about our society if someone can use their resources to silence victims?
Yeah, and evade accountability.
It raises some really uncomfortable questions.
It does.
About power, privilege, and justice.
Right, and then we have the FBI raids.
Oh, yeah. Those are big news.
On Combs' homes, which just add another whole layer to this situation.
That's a lot.
These raids are part of an ongoing federal human trafficking investigation.
Wow.
And it's unclear at this point how they connect to the abuse allegations.
So we have even more to figure out.
More questions than answers, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
It is. We've covered a lot of ground already, but we're just getting started.
There's more.
In the next part, we'll dive deeper into Cassie Ventura's response to all of this.
Okay.
The public reaction and the potential fallout for Combs and the music industry as a whole.
This is getting good.
It's going to get even juicier, so stay tuned.
I can't wait. Picking up where we left off, you mentioned the FBI raids.
Yeah.
And that human trafficking investigation.
Right. Yeah.
It adds like a whole other dimension to this, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like every time we think we're getting a handle on this story, another layer gets peeled back.
Right.
And the FBI, I mean, they're not known for going after celebrities lightly.
Not really.
This is serious stuff.
It really is.
And it kind of reminds us that even with someone as high profile as Combs, the legal system can and does pursue investigations.
For sure.
Whether or not these raids are directly related to the abuse allegations, it definitely puts Combs' actions under an even more intense microscope.
It's like everyone's watching now.
Yeah, everyone's paying attention.
So we have to talk about Cassie Ventura's response.
We do.
For years, she stayed pretty silent about the abuse.
Aside from that initial lawsuit.
Right, aside from that.
But recently, she broke that silence.
Okay.
In a really powerful way.
How so?
She took to Instagram.
Okay.
Not to directly address Combs or the legal proceedings, but to talk about the issue of domestic violence.
So just more broadly.
More broadly. And it was a really striking statement.
What did she say?
She talked about the huge impact the abuse had on her. How it literally broke her down as a person.
There was a line in her statement that really got to me. She said, "Domestic violence is the issue." Wow.
It broke me down to someone I never thought I would become.
That's powerful.
With a lot of hard work, I am better today, but I will always be recovering from my past.
That really highlights the lasting effects of abuse.
Yeah, even after you escape the situation.
It stays with you.
And what's so important about Ventura speaking out is that she's giving a voice to other victims.
The ones who maybe don't have that platform.
Right, who may not feel like they can share their own stories.
It's a reminder that behind all the headlines and the legal battles, there are real people.
Real people who have been deeply hurt.
Yeah, and it reminds me of that culture of silence.
Oh, yeah.
We see around these powerful figures.
People are afraid to speak out.
Afraid of what might happen.
Worried about their careers.
Right, or worse.
It's why it's so important for those who do speak out to be believed.
And supported.
And supported.
Absolutely.
But even with Ventura's statement and that security footage, there are still people out there who are questioning her motives.
Really?
defending Combs, even blaming her for the abuse.
It's sad, but it's something we see all the time in these cases.
It is.
There's this tendency to doubt the victims.
Yeah, to protect the image of the accused.
Right.
To make excuses for the behavior.
It's like people don't want to believe it.
But what I find interesting is that even some of Combs' biggest supporters are having a tough time reconciling these allegations with the image they have of him.
It's like their hero is falling.
Right.
I think the release of that footage really changed things for a lot of people.
It was a turning point.
Because it's one thing to hear allegations.
Yeah, you read about it.
But it's another thing to see it with your own eyes.
Right there on camera.
Yeah, that physical violence.
And it forced people to rethink their whole view of Combs.
Yeah, like who is this guy really?
And we're seeing this online in social media.
In the comments.
The way people are talking about the case.
So what's the general feeling?
People are overwhelmingly supportive of Ventura.
Okay.
There's a lot of anger toward Combs, a lot of questions about his past behavior.
And are people calling for accountability?
Definitely.
It's not just the public, though.
No, the music industry is grappling with this, too.
I bet.
We've seen some artists come out against Combs.
Yeah, condemning the abuse.
Calling for change.
But there's also a lot of silence.
Yeah, a lot of people hesitant to take a side.
Maybe they're afraid of Combs and his connections.
Possibly.
It's a tricky situation.
It is.
You know, one PR expert called Combs' arrest a wake-up call for the music industry.
Interesting.
Like, this case is shining a light on a problem that's been hidden for a long time.
Abuse of power, silencing victims.
Protecting stars no matter what.
It makes you wonder, do you think we'll see real change?
I don't know, it's hard to say.
Or will it be business as usual?
Right back to normal.
I think there's a real chance here for the music industry to take a hard look at itself.
Yeah, to examine how it operates.
To create a culture that puts safety and well-being first.
For everyone, not just the big stars.
Exactly. But it's going to take more than just words.
Actions speak louder.
It will take real action, a willingness to hold abusers accountable.
Yeah, no matter who they are.
No matter their status or connections.
And it's going to take a shift in power.
Yeah.
We need to make it so people feel safe to speak up.
Without fear.
Without fear of retaliation.
Where their voices are truly heard.
And believed.
And believed. You know, we keep talking about the public reaction and the industry fallout.
Yeah.
But it's important to think about the personal impact.
On a human level.
We found an interview with a friend of Ventura's.
Okay.
Tiffany Red.
Right.
She claims to have witnessed Combs' alleged verbal abuse.
Oh, wow. So this is firsthand.
And that's so valuable because it gives us a different angle.
Right, more than just the physical assault.
A glimpse into the dynamics of their relationship.
So who is Tiffany Red?
She's a singer and songwriter.
Okay.
Who worked with Combs on music for Ventura.
So she was in the inner circle.
She was.
Oh.
So she was able to observe their interactions up close.
Right, she saw it all.
And what really struck me was her description of the atmosphere around Combs.
What was it like?
She talked about this culture of fear.
Oh, wow.
Where people were afraid to challenge him or speak up because they were afraid of his reaction.
We're walking on eggshells?
Literally walking on eggshells.
Like he was a king or something.
She mentioned one encounter she had with Combs.
Okay.
Where he was so dismissive and intimidating.
Like he was better than her.
It was clear that he saw himself as the one in control.
And she was just supposed to follow orders?
Not to offer any of her own ideas.
Wow. It paints a picture of someone who's used to getting his way.
Used to power.
Who doesn't handle disagreement well.
Who sees people as tools to get what he wants.
Yeah. And it really supports what Ventura has been saying.
About the emotional and psychological abuse.
Right. It wasn't just physical.
It was a pattern of control and manipulation.
That's scary.
It affected their whole relationship.
Red also said she felt intimidated by Combs, that everyone around him was so careful.
Like they were afraid of setting him off.
And that's the thing about abuse.
It ripples outward.
It affects everyone involved.
Not just the direct victim.
It's like a poison.
But by coming forward and sharing her experience, Red is not only supporting Ventura, but also showing everyone how insidious emotional and psychological abuse can be.
The kind of abuse you don't always see.
Right. It's not always physical.
It's a really important part of this conversation.
Yeah, it is. And it reminds us that abuse can have long-lasting consequences.
For sure.
Man, it's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
It really has.
We've gone from Harlem to Hollywood, from the top of the hip-hop world to these really disturbing allegations.
Yeah.
I feel like we've looked at every part of Sean Combs' life and career.
I think so.
And yeah, I still have so many questions.
It's that duality, right?
It is.
The amazing talent, the business genius, but then this dark side of alleged abuse and manipulation and control.
Yeah, it's so hard to put those two things together.
It just makes sense.
And we've heard from so many different people.
We have.
Cassie Ventura sharing her story.
So brave.
Tiffany Red talking about that culture of fear around Combs.
Right.
Legal experts trying to explain this complicated case. And the public just trying to figure out what to believe.
It's a lot to process.
And, you mentioned Combs' apologies.
Yeah.
Him saying he made mistakes, but still saying he's innocent.
Right.
It makes you think about how powerful people respond to these accusations.
It does.
Do you think it's real remorse?
Like he actually feels bad.
Or is it just a PR move?
Trying to save his career.
Or maybe it's both.
Could be.
It's hard to know what's going on in his head.
Yeah.
But even if we say, okay, Combs is trying to change to be better, can that erase the harm he's caused?
Right. Can you just forget about the pain?
Can you undo the trauma for the people he's hurt?
That's a tough question.
And it goes beyond just Sean Combs.
I think so.
It's a bigger question about how we hold powerful people accountable.
Especially when they hurt others.
We've talked about the legal stuff.
The statute of limitations.
Yeah, making it hard to prosecute.
Right.
But then there's also the court of public opinion.
Oh, yeah. People are watching.
We've seen the anger online. People calling for boycotts, demanding justice.
Do you think that has power?
I don't know. Can public pressure really change someone?
Or does it just fade away?
I think things are different now.
How so?
Compared to even a few years ago.
Yeah.
It used to be so easy for famous people to hide these things.
To sweep it under the rug.
But now with social media, everyone has a voice.
People are speaking out.
And there's more awareness about abuse.
So it's harder to ignore.
That PR expert we talked about called this a wake-up call for the music industry. But is it just music?
Right.
It feels like it's happening everywhere.
Like a reckoning?
In Hollywood, in politics, even in tech.
It's like a cultural shift.
People are questioning the systems that protected abusers.
And silenced victims.
Allowed powerful people to do whatever they wanted.
Yeah, there's a real demand for change.
People want transparency.
Accountability.
And a more fair balance of power.
For sure.
But we have to remember that this kind of change takes time.
It doesn't happen overnight.
It's messy, and there are people who don't want it.
They want things to stay the same.
They care more about protecting reputations than facing the truth.
It's frustrating.
It is. But that's why we have to keep talking about it.
Yeah, to keep pushing for change.
To shine a light on these dark places where abuse happens.
We have to support the survivors.
And amplify their voices.
Demand better from our leaders.
And from ourselves.
It's on all of us.
So as we finish this deep dive into Sean Diddy Combs' world, remember, it's not just about him.
It's bigger than that.
It's about these big questions we're all facing.
About power and responsibility.
About talent and accountability.
About believing survivors.
We've given you the facts, the allegations, the different sides of the story.
Now it's up to you.
What do you believe?
Can you separate the art from the person?
Can you see the success and the alleged abuse?
Can you hold those two ideas in your mind?
Without ignoring or downplaying either one.
That's the challenge.
What are your takeaways?
What questions do you still have?
Share your thoughts with us online.
Let's keep talking about this.
Because this conversation is important.
It has the power to change things.
And that's what we want.
A world where talent and success don't mean you can hurt people.
Where power is used for good.
Where everyone feels safe and respected.
And free to speak their truth.